Hi, I recently appeared for Capgemini Java Developer interview and I cleared all the round. Basically, there are only two rounds. So in this video, I will going to share every questions they asked me on the round one, not just the questions but how I answered it. And also, I have been appearing for 30 plus company interviews in the last few weeks. So if you are job hunting right now, so subscribe and keep watching the channel and like the video. So I have already prepared an GitHub repo with all the questions and the code snippet and the note. You can check the descriptions. Let's go get started with the video. So before going ahead, I will request you to go through this playlist where I have am making the company wise interview videos like this video. Interview one, watch this playlist. Here I have covered like Airtel, Cognizant, EPAM, first to third round, and Deloitte, PwC. So it will help you to prepare for any companies. So in the future, I will be keep adding the videos as well. So let's get started. Start with our first of questions. So you can click on this questions number one. So and they will ask you the difference between compare and compare to methods. So the compare to is present in the comparable interface and compare method is present in the comparator interface. So if we see this compare to is taking one argument of any type and returning the integers, and the compare is taking the two arguments and it also returning the integers. So let me go through you some on the code snippet for the better understanding. So if you expand this source and the question number one, then you will get the code snippet. So compared to here, it show the natural order inside the classes. So compared to we'll be using inside the classes. So here employee the class and here we are using compared to, and I was saying the compared to accepting only one argument and it is returning the integers. So it just compare this current salary with the salary that with the object we have passed. So this is the compare to method for the natural used for natural order of sorting. And if we see we have like compare methods as well. So in this compare methods, it is, as I was talking, it's an part of like comparator, and you see the comparator dot comparing, and here you are using this employee dot name. So compare is a method called internally by the comparator. So if we see we are first sorting by the name. So what happened, we are just passing this comparator methods variable. So let's move to the next questions. They have asked me about a difference between method overloading and the method overriding. And yeah, this is also the simple questions like the same class having different parameters, and the order of the parameters is different, but the method name is same and within the class. So for example, we have int add, double add, int add, int a, b, c, so like that. So here we have different parameters and different parameter count. This is called the overloading. And here one questions they can ask like if the return type is different. So if example double add int a, int b, and here it is returning int a, not here int a and int b and returning int. So will this be a part of method overloading or not? So answer is no, it will not be a part of method overloading. So Java did not thinks the consider return type as an part of overloading. And what is overriding? Overriding is the extending or overriding the parent methods. So for example, here animals is the like parent class, and here we have one sound methods, and dog is extending animals and it is overriding the sound, and also cat is extending the animals and it is overriding the sound and returning some value. So this is called the uh, overriding, method overriding, and we can method overriding will be done in the runtime polymorphism. So if you go to this questions number 2, you will get the source code as well. And see, we have this calculators, and you have different that the things that I was shown you just now. Let's move to the next questions. Before going ahead with the next questions, if you are still watching the video, I will request you please subscribe to the channel and like the video, as I will be making I am making videos every day sharing my experience in different companies. So they asked me about explain the different access modifiers. So we have public, protected, and defaults, and the private. If any field which is public, that can be accessed within the same class, within the same package, within the the subclass who is extending it, and everywhere. And the fields which is protected, it can be accessed in the same class, same package, but and so with the subclass, but not everywhere. Default uh, fields which is will be accessed in the same class and the same package. Similarly, the private will be accessed only within the same class. So you can check this sample code as well, question number 3 and access modifier demo. You can go through and check the code as well. Let's go to the next questions. They asked me about serializable and transient keywords, and why serialization is required. So let's go one by one. What is serializable? Serializable is a marker interface. It has no methods, and making a class or the class who is extending the serializable interface or implementing the serializable interface, then that object, we can say the object of this method, object of this a class can be converted into a byte stream. So for example, here user, we have implemented this serializable interface, and so this user object which is having age, name will be converted to an serializable object into an byte stream, and which can be shared over the network. We can go through the real life use cases as well. And what is that? They will tell what happens when a class implements the serializable plus transient. As implementing the serializable, we have just explained, but what happened in case of the transient, the field which is mentioned as a transient, they exclude from serialization. So this field will not be passed over the network. So here the password is a transient, so we cannot share the password over the network. And also if this mention the static, if any field is mentioned static, that also exclude from the serialization because this belongs to the class. This count is belongs to the class because it is static. So and other field, it is belongs to the object. So those will be a part of serializable. So next, move to the next questions. Then why serialization is required? As I was saying, serialization convert a Java object into an byte stream, so it can be saved to a file or the database. It can be sent over the network. It can be stored in the cache. So those are the pretty much reasons, and you can get the source code for the serialization demo here. So one more questions I want to ask you before going ahead with the next questions. So please comment down to your totally rough experience you have, so it will be better for me to make those kind of videos. So let's move with the next question. What is polymorphism? Polymorphism means one interface having many implementations. The same method called produces different behavior depending upon the actual object at the runtime. So we have method overloading, we have method overriding, which is we have just learned it. So in case of the runtime polymorphism, so for example, we have one interface called the shape, and the circle is implementing the shape, and rectangle is implementing the shape, and the triangle is implementing the shape. So if we see, depending upon the which classes we have or the which object we have passed, those particular method will be executed. So that previous example we have given regarding these animals. So So you can check the source code as well on this polymorphism. So let's move to the next questions, which is the questions number 8. So HashMap internal working. So it is not the Capgemini questions. It in the Capgemini also it asks like whatever the interview I am appearing, the most of the interview they are asking the HashMap internal working, depending upon and they have put some tricky questions as well. So better to go to this HashMap internal working. So HashMap internally uses arrays of buckets. Or let me know in the comment section if you want a specific video on HashMap internal working, because there are a lot of things to know, and every time we missed something. And yeah, so how it is working: when we call any put dot key dot value method or with the values, then it is first creating the hash indexes for that. So for that, it will be with that particular key, it will create a hash code will be generated. From the hash code it will be generated the index, and if it check if that bucket is empty, then insert that node directly. If the bucket is not empty, it will then it has like list, then it will check for dot equals methods, and if it is true just update, and if it is false, and then it is added to the new a new node will be added on that particular in that particular bucket. And if the chain is exist or the capacity exist, then we need to resize uh, and rehashing will be applicable. So you can check this as my internal demo source code, and it is better to click on like put methods, and you can say this how this put value and everything this internally is working. So I can cover a specific video, just let me know in the comment section. So let's move to the next questions, which is Spring profiles. Profiles allow you to have a different configurations for the different environments. So for the test environment, we have different configuration for the dev environments without changing the code. So why we need the different profiles? Because for example, we are working in the demo environment, so we don't want to connect to the prod databases. So then in that case we can use the separate URL, and in case of the prod will be the separate URL. So to activate that particular profiles, we need in the application dot properties or the application dot YML file, we need to set this particular properties. So if you see, and also you can pass this profile annotations, and this profile annotation this prod. So depending upon, so if it is in a prod environment, and the only it's the prod will be loaded, and it is in dev, and if it is in locally, so in locally we will be setting this right, this dev, then this particular dev this h2 properties will be activated. Naming convention will be follows like that. So next move to the next questions. Dependency injection. So the Spring creates and manages your object. We know that instead of creating a new keyword to create an object for our services, the Spring inject the dependencies automatically. There are three type of injections is there: constructor, setter, and the field injections. The interviewer can ask which is better. So constructor injection is better, and we can use then setter, then field injection. So there is some example on how we are injecting this user repo and the payment services using the constructor injection. And next, how to inject the properties, how to inject the properties value in the Spring Boot. So we have few kind of configuration, like in the application.properties file. If we want to inject that value on a specific fields in our source code, so we can use this value annotations and with an dollar and this field name or the properties name. And if you pass and want to pass the direct value, for example, then we need to pass that default value colon 8080. And if this server dot port on application dot properties file is mentioned that like 8090, then 8090 will be taken instead of taking the default. And for like list, if this field is a list, then on that application dot properties file we need to use the comma separated value. So if you see this applications dot admin deep admin root, so these are comma separate, and these are the we can say as a list. And another thing is we can use the configuration properties annotation. it is in based practice, like we need to group the properties. So we need to have this prefix. So prefix is their app. Then we fields like name and version database. So here the name and version and database. And the database it's have the fields like URL name. So in the database it's have the field like URL and the username. And third way is the using the environment, like it programmatically accessing the values or setting the values, we can say. So it's if it is some kind of features that you want to enable during the runtime, you can use this environment variable or the environment fields. So we just need to tell this features dot like that, and it can say true or false depending upon that. So next is that qualifier annotations. They can ask you like difference between qualifier annotations and the primary annotations as well. So let me know in the comment section what is the difference between primary and the qualifier annotation before going ahead with the video. Okay, so when the Spring finds multiple bin of the same type, it does not know which to inject, then it throws the no unique bin definition exception, and the qualifier tells the Spring exactly which bins to use. For example, we have one notification service interface, and we have email notification, we have SMS notification. If the email notification is implementing the notification service, and SMS notification is implementing the SMS notification service, and in the order service we want to send the notification. So if we do this notification service here, it's this service don't know like which notification service to call, either it is SMS or the email. And so for that case, what we need to do, we need to use the qualifier. So qualifier and the SMS service, so it will be sending the SMS service notification. So to send this to define this bin name as an SMS service, we need to use component annotations and to mention the value as an SMS service. So let's move to the next questions. The Spring components, what are the different four Spring components? You can tell like component annotation, service annotation, repository annotation, controller annotation. So we have used this a lot in our the Spring Boot projects, right? So component, it's like generic bin. Service, it's used for the business logic. Repository is for the data access layer, and the controller is for like web MVC, and REST controller is for calling the REST API. So you can tell the example like data layer we are using repository, and the service layer we are using service annotation, and the REST controller we are using the web layer and REST controller combination of the controller as well as the response body. And the component is for like generic, and if anything we are not sure, so the component means it will be creating the bins. Anyhow we need to create this bin, so on that case you can use the component annotation. Then they asked they asked me like one coding questions as well. It's not the coding questions, it's related to the stream API. Occurrence of each character in the string using the Java stream. So they will give you one string, then you need to have the occurrence of the each character in this in the string. So basically they want to map of characters and the occurrence, the count of each characters, which will be the values. So traditionally we can use the for loop and check the characters and we can like combine we can like put the characters and the values. In the Java Stream API you need to use this is the approach you need to show to your interviewer. You can input is there, convert to an characters array, then map that characters into a stream of characters, then collects using the collector grouping by function identity. This question they will definitely ask in like for you also, exactly this question they will definitely ask, because they do the answer like straightforward questions. So let's move to the next question. And next question is that comparator and the ByComparator. So when someone says like sort ByComparator, they actually want to means like to use a comparator object to define the sort, and opposed to the natural order of comparable. So we have seen the first questions and like on the comparators. So you can see this if you want to sort sort using the 2-3 fields by name, by salary, by department, so we can use this. So we can first like sort by salary, then also we can like sort by department, then sort by name. So correspondingly we can use this. Some methods we are using the comparing int, reversed, then comparing in natural order, reverse order. Then they asked me about the difference between 204 and 404 HTTP status code. So 204 is like no content means, and 404 is the not found. There is little bit like misconception with this particular status code. Just we just revise it once. So 204 is means it is success but no body to return. So for example, and if we see 204 means no contents, means if we are deleting that particular record, so it is returning the success but there is no content. So that's why we are using 204. Some people do what, they will do response entity dot OK. So it is not correct, because in the delete mapping we should not use the OK, we should use 204 content not found. And the 404 is that not found means the resource does not exist. So when the get, put and delete, they want to delete on the non-existing ID. And so for example here this is trying to delete, right? When it call the delete method, for example the delete method is called, and if it is throwing the user not found exception, then on that case we have 404 status code. So that's all with the video. If I got like good comments or the likes, then I will definitely create round 2 videos where I will be covering all the round 2 questions. Let me know in the comment section by writing the round 2, so to get the round 2 videos. And as I was saying, I have appeared around 30 or 40 different companies interview in last couple of weeks. So if you want those kind of videos, just subscribe to the channel and like this video. So thank you for watching the video and all the best for your interview.